everybody speaking and standing at the same time during this roundtable. The program is in front of you. We will strictly follow the timing, even in the program, meaning that we are now 30 minutes behind, and the 4 first contributors, including myself, promised that they will shorten their presentation so we could start with the first roundtable as indicated. Ulrich will tell you about the rules of operation. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, friends, I am happy to recognize that several of you are experienced global roundtable experts, and even one of us has previously moderated global roundtable. So nothing is new for everybody. Well, may I ask Ulrich still say a few words about the operation?
Good morning. Just a few practical things. This is a square roundtable, just defined by the room. There is no front, there's no back, there's no side. The moderators are placed around the room, and they are all assisted by a rapporteur. There will be a small musical chairs game, which is if you are so lucky to be sitting next to one of the moderators, then at some point I will ask you to move to my seat, because what I do is I just make the list, I take attention of who wants to speak next. So if you want to speak, you catch my eye, and I take down your name, and that way it is very clear who comes next. There's a clear rule. After every 5, 7 people, I make a line, we get through those people, and then we take the next ones, because time is of the essence. I'm just asking everybody to keep their interventions short. 1 minute is good, 30 seconds is better. That way we can really throw the ball around much more, because then we can really go back and forth and see what people want. All right? If there's anything else, just let us know. We will be coming around with some coffee. If you prefer tea, you just let us know. That's what's going to happen. All right? I hope the air conditioning is up to the job.
So, Madam Assistant Secretary, the word is yours, please.
On behalf of Croatian Academy of Sciences and Arts, I would like to welcome to all of you, especially to you, Mr. Gilbert, to my best Klaus, and to Professor Jurovic. My old friends, so we met so many times in Europe. Thank you for this great idea to the supreme level of our Nikola Tesla. As you know, Nikola Tesla is one of the greatest Croatian scientists. He was born on a small village in Nikatice, roughly speaking, between the region of Dalmatia and the city of Zagreb. We are very proud that we are going to discuss about selection committee and about potential candidates for this award. Have that Wednesday country of Croatia, and in this old city of Split. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It is with particular pleasure that I would like to greet you all. establishment of the Tesla Prize for the unrecognized genius. Nikola Tesla, as we all know, is one of the world's most important scientists and inventors. His patents and theoretical work at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century created the conditions for global electrification of radio technology and telecommunication. His research was important to the discovery of radar and greatly contributed to the development of artificial light. Tesla's thoughts on innovation can be summed up in a passage from his autobiographical book, My Invention, that I'm going to quote, and it is going to be the end of my presentation. The progressive development of man is equally dependent on invention. It is the most important product of his creative brain. Its ultimate purpose is to complete mastery of man over the material world, the harnessing of the forces of nature to human needs. This is the difficult task of the inventor who is often misunderstood and unrewarded, but he finds ample compensation in the pleasing exercise of his powers and in the knowledge of being one of the exceptionally privileged class without whom the race would have long ago perished in the bitter struggle against those elements. I hope that this wonderful manual will provide us a successful framework for discussion. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I am still not Haris Youssef. However, allow me just to say these few words on his behalf. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being willing to partake in trying to realize something which is for the good of all and for all and by none. It is, however, maybe important to say the following. Tesla is the inspiration. He is the idea. However, he is not the goal. This is not to be an engineering prize. There is enough of those. To set the limits about this discussion, the limits are the following. There are no limits. There are no limits to what the prize can be, for what. It is for somebody who tries to help the earth and help humanity. That is what it is. That's how you should see it today. The discussion is completely open. There is no prepared outcome. There is no pre-cooking. This is to be a true discussion. From your discussion, we will try to put something together, which we will then discuss with you again, and we will then see if we can get to something which is viable. The main thing you can remember is the prize is for anything and everything, but for somebody who's trying to help humanity, and there are no limits. Thank you.
Professor Strauss, please.
Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished participants. It's certainly an honor to be present here and say a few words. As you see, the title of what I am supposed to say is Nikola Tesla, the genius. And as we said, this is not a conference about Nikola Tesla, it's really focusing on the genius. Now, genius is obviously an exceptional person, a unique person in many ways. Obviously, there is a significant difference not only among so-called us common people, as the greatest Nobel Prize winner Landau himself always used to say, I'm a third-rate physicist, being the first-rate being Einstein, the second-rate being people like Newton and so on. So yes, there is a difference between a genius and the rest of us, but there are also significant differences among geniuses themselves. The first question is, do we need at this time geniuses? Absolutely. We are in a fast-changing, complex, interconnected world, and geniuses are highly needed. Do we expect to have geniuses? By all means. After all, there are more than 7 billion of us. It will be approaching 9 billion by the end of this century, and so there is no reason why not to expect that. However, the purpose here, I think, would be really to study in which ways we can pave the way and find out those who indeed And there, of course, the education is of primary importance. Education is obviously very, very important to do this. But there is also a question as people develop how to do that, that they have the maximum possible stimulation and the least inhibitions. While, of course, there are many things that inhibit the people, the general structure might be such as suppressing the geniuses and the development of genius. Nikola Tesla obviously was in many ways a genius. He is not the only one. We could list, of course, people like Einstein, like Newton, in our own time, somebody like Steve Jobs, and a number of other people. We do need people in so-called soft sciences, as they are erroneously called. And let me, just for the benefit of those who join us today, say that the last 2 days we spent again under the leadership and inspiration of Mr. Alex Youssef on the subject of energy and money. And that certainly is some area where we do need a genius to break up the conventional thoughts, to put up the most important slogan, let us think out of the box. And in that way, we have to stimulate geniuses, conditions for geniuses, and as a matter of fact, make the entire civilization somehow stimulating for the development of geniuses, because geniuses and leaders is what we do need today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Brendan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Nikola Tesla stands for an outstanding example of a genius. To look into his early years maybe give some insight of its personal predisposition to contribute in a broad sense to humanity and to human development. Therefore, I will take Nikola Tesla as an example of a genius during his early years to find out maybe some criteria for the search of the actual genius or potential genius. Nikola Tesla was born in a faithful Orthodox family where the father was a priest with a big library and a huge number of classical poems, read by Nikola already starting from 8 years onwards. However, he was at the same time extremely interested in physics, and his parents allowed him this kind of studies after a serious illness in Austria. But in his whole life, he remained firmly attached both to natural sciences and poetry. Maybe this is already a first sign of a coming genius. With 19 years, he went to Graz University of Technology and passed within 3 years many examinations with excellence, but left Graz University of Technology without any final examination. He went onwards to Maribor, Prague, and Budapest in his early years. Eager to know not only his science, but also the real life, he was not bound to formal and bourgeois employment, but left his life ruled, and it comes from his inner spirit. But a very specific problem occupied his mind from the second year in Graz already. This was the switch from the direct to alternating current, and in his words, it was for him a question for life and death. So the quotation. To acquire knowledge of life by traveling is always accompanied by the very basic question in his science, and maybe this is another sign of becoming genius. The combination of going into the real life and at the same time deeply rooted in the scientific question with which he was occupied. He found a solution, this is also interesting, during a walk with a friend in Budapest at the age of 25, and this characteristically he cited Goethe's Faust when the final idea came to him. He was deeply convinced that, again in the words of Nikola Tesla, instinct transcends knowledge. But when he grabbed the intellectual solution of his genius, he goes straight forward to the implementation of the ideas for the benefit of the society. Already a year after its definite idea, he made his first installations, and industry and business was very much interested in it. And as many of you know, he went to Paris, further to the United States with Edison, Westinghouse and so on, and his own firms to apply the idea in business and in society. It is well known that he had many conflicts with Edison, later on also with Westinghouse, and he has problems with his own firms. But he mainly remained an investor, and he was never switching to a businessman. And this tension between being an inventor and a businessman was accompanying his whole life. I will not refer to the period in the United States, but make a final remark. The most productive period of Tesla ended with about 45 years. Then he discovered again his high esteem for poetry, being in acquaintance, for example, with Mark Twain and many other writers in the United States. At the same time, he enlarged his world view and challenged, for example, Einstein's theory, and become more and more a lonely person, without many or very few friends. Geniuses are always endangered by themselves. Therefore, searching and promoting a genius should also include the protection in their later life. I think the times where the genius have become poor and lonely in their age should be part of the past, and the Tesla Prize should take care of this aspect of a genius. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Just a very few words about the Global Roundtable. It is a non-party political initiative. Of course, in the real life, everything is related in one way or other to politics. Here, non-party political. We have initiated the initiative because we have been inspired by many of you with whom we have in our and your previous incarnation closely cooperated, and during the different dialogues and our own experience, we learned that there was need for this sort of civil society initiative to provide new thought, advice, recommendation to societal and political leaders. As an example, last year, just a couple of months ago, with some of your participation, we discuss the issue sustainability of culture, and this is now officially introduced in the discussion of the European Union's next multi-annual program. The meeting here is informal. We will not produce any document which will say who said what. Therefore, we are kindly asking you, act on your best experience. There is no need, however, to explain whom you are, because yesterday evening you had the possibility to learn each other, and the most important of you is there. There is no need, indeed we are asking you, do not make reference to your institution, your company. Finally, we are confident that with your help and following the procedure already highlighted, and with the help of the rapporteurs who previously kindly volunteered to produce the first outline, we will produce a solid document which we will hand over to the Forte Foundation, its chairman, Mr. Haris Youssef, and he, on his own moral, ethical decision, will take the follow-up step. I think that is correct. Thank you. What we have done here in the organizing committee, we have produced 3 guiding questions to each of the sessions, and we are offering the guiding questions to the moderators. It is up to the discretion of moderators to refuse them, follow them, amend them as the discussion is developing. So everything from now on until almost the end of the meeting in the hands of the moderators. Your Excellency, the word is yours, and your moderator and your assistant, who should sit one on the left, one on the right side. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Fay. If I may start with an earnest entreaty to the organizers, that would be to think, as we are being moved around very kindly by your buses and other means of conveyance, as we step out of the bus, it would be immensely helpful to say in which direction we are going and how far, but it would be even more helpful to make sure that everybody is able to follow, because I truly did my best to follow, but with my limbs I was not able to follow the galloping pace that was set by those obviously much more sprightly and energetic than I am, and hence was wandering along the waterside trying to find the academy which locals did not seem to know of. So I would truly entreat you to think about keeping your flock together if you do want to make the maximum use of the people who will actually come here. We said thank you for the honor and the trust in inviting me, and I think that because of my own education as a psychologist, a few words to start off the discussion about what scientifically has been studied and found out about the notion of genius. Way back in the 1930s in California, the psychologist Turner decided to look for genius among the general population of school children, with the idea of picking out those most promising and then following them up through life in a long-term study and a follow-up study to see how they made out. With the intelligence test, which he himself had improved and developed, children were picked out with IQs over 135 who truly had scholastic ability, way above the norm. If you like, if you put the scores on the normal curve, they will be at the extreme right-hand superior end of the curve, 1% to 5% of the population, depending on where you took the cutoff line. These children were studied systematically for many years and followed up through life. And what was discovered is that while as youngsters they truly stood out from their companions, and by the way, were not just smarter but also better looking and better at sports and talented in other ways, as life went on, the environment in which they lived and the opportunities which were offered to them by their parents and by their society took precedence over what obviously had been inborn differences, although this is very much disputed, but obviously differences at the beginning of their life. So I think the conclusion from that is that early promise in terms of any measurable way, such as scholastic ability, is not a predictor of success in life, and there were many who, in spite of their gifts, actually adapted rather poorly, and did worse, if you like, than some of their less intellectually gifted colleagues. Now, mind you, there are some aspects of genius which do show up early and, if you like, stick better throughout life, and these are the fields of music, we think of Mozart, and mathematics. But here again, if you have, the case of the idiot savant, where somebody can calculate which day of the week was 2536 BC within seconds, these people generally have difficulty adapting to life, and I do think that Tesla, towards the end of his life, showed certain signs of this type of maladaptation of people who are extraordinarily gifted in physical sciences, and particularly mathematics, but who increasingly have difficulties in their social relations. And I understand that he had a serious obsessive-compulsive disorder, and as we know, obsessive-compulsive disorder can, when it becomes severe, starts bordering with schizoid personalities. This means that one has to look to other ways to define genius, which of course is the obvious one, by their accomplishments. So I think you have to decide different levels. One level is to pick the génie en herbe, the budding genius, the gifted child who truly would not, as we found in German study, if the gifted child is not given an environment that allows them to flourish, they may wither on the vine, and their talent may go unfulfilled. So this is one level of helping genius, is to help young people. But to recognize existing genius, you have